This is Mike Greenlee, Cal State Fullerton Media Relations Director, sitting down with San Francisco Giants outfielder Aaron Rowand. How you doing today, Aaron?
Good, bud.
You're now in your 11th season at the big league level. Can you give us an insight as to how you keep yourself healthy over a 162-game schedule?
The biggest thing is the workout stuff that you do in the off season, the preparation, the maintenance, making sure you ice stuff that, may be giving you a problem or is the beginnings of a problem. Try to get at it before it gets too bad. Just during the off season, Reed and I actually, Reed Johnson lives up there in Vegas with me, and we work out together in the mornings and hit and do our stuff together in the off season. So it's just about preparation, I think.
And we've known for a long time that you're the type of guy that'll take on an outfield wall. With that kind of aggressive playing style comes stints on the DL. Is there some point in your career you like to pull back the reins a little bit, or are you going to go after it every game, every day?
I don't think so. I think, you go after it, play and give it everything you got every chance you get. It's a kid's game, and I enjoy throwing myself around out there, being aggressive, whether it's running the bases or playing defense, doing whatever. I've been lucky. The stints that I've spent on the DL have all been freak things, not as much as necessarily things that have come because of, playing, hurting, pulling hammies, stuff like that. I broke my ankle, broke my face, and I got hit in the face with a 95-mile-an-hour fastball. Those are the only 3 times I've been on the DL, knock on wood.
You've been a part of 2 Major League World Series championship ball clubs. Talk about what those championships mean to you personally.
They're the pinnacle of everything that you've worked for, from Little League through high school, college, minor league ball. To be able to stand on the top of the mountain at the end of the year, being the only one left standing, is a feeling you really can't put into words.
And where do you keep your rings?
In my safe at home.
Talk about what it was like for you to make the 2007 All-Star game.
That was again. I think as a kid, when you're dreaming about playing baseball and you want to play in the big leagues, it's the pinnacle of the game in the world, and to be able to have been classified with the elite players and make an all-star game, win a World Series, those are all things that you think about when you dream of playing baseball in the big leagues.
And then also you won a Gold Glove that same year. As far as awards go, that's probably got to be something that made you pretty proud.
It's the biggest award, I think, or the one that I coveted the most, and the one that I appreciate the most and get the most enjoyment out of. I take pride in playing defense, and I love playing defense. So to be rewarded for it, for doing it well, is something I think that everybody takes pride in.
I hope I'm not getting too personal here, but you signed a pretty lucrative contract a few years back. What kind of long-term financial advice would you give to younger players that might be in your situation coming up soon?
I would say the biggest thing is that you need to realize no matter how much you're making at the time, sometime that's going to end. And you're not going to be getting paid to play this game, or, to do what you love doing. And if you can take care of your money and be smart about it, invest your money with somebody that you trust, hopefully when you're done playing this game, you don't need to work anymore if you don't want to. So you try to be smart.
At this point in the game for you, are you still learning about baseball?
I think so. I think, every day something different happens, whether it be on the field or in the clubhouse with your teammates. Different things come up over the course of 162 games, and for that matter, 11 years. So I think you're constantly trying to become better, trying to learn and try to make yourself better as a player.
Now go back a few years. Why'd you choose to go to Cal State Fullerton?
I actually went to a summer camp that Rick Vanderhook put on, and that was the first time I met the staff, and ended up going on a recruiting trip there and narrowed it down between there and USC. And I loved both programs, both coaches, and it came down to whoever was going to offer me a scholarship first, I was going to go and sign. And Coach Horton came over to my house with an offer for a scholarship, and while he was there, Coach Gillespie at USC actually called me, and I answered the phone, and he was there. So, I told Coach Gillespie that, Coach Horton was in the house right there, and I was getting ready to sign. He said, it was my fault we didn't get there sooner, and wish you nothing but the best. So, I have, absolutely no regrets. I love my time at Cal State Fullerton and the players that I got to play with and coaches I got to play under. And it was where I really learned how to play the game of baseball.
Now, while you were there, you got to play for both Augie Garrido and George Horton. And then you were, like you said, Coach Vanderhook was there. You were a pupil of his. Talk about what you've taken away from Cal State Fullerton specifically, and do those principles still apply while you're here in the big leagues?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I really learned how to play the game the right way at Cal State Fullerton, and about playing the game hard, playing the game right, learning the nuances of the game. I think the best compliment that I could really put on the staff and the tradition that Cal State Fullerton has is when I was in minor league ball. My first year in spring training, one of the head minor league directors came up and apologized to me for having to run some of the drills, some of the relay drills with some of the younger kids who were coming out of high school, some of the Latin players that were new, and apologized to me because he said, I know where you went to school, and I know all this is old hat to you, and that's the tradition and the way that the people in the professional game think about players that come out of Cal State Fullerton. They know that we know the game because of the coaching and the tradition that there is there.
Now, in your opinion, over your experience in the big leagues, who would be a better big league coach, Augie Garrido or George Horton? Putting you on the spot a little bit.
I'd have to go with Coach Horton. I think he relates a little bit better to his players. It's not a knock on Coach Garrido at all, but I think Coach Horton has a better feel for the pulse of the team and his players, and has a little bit different relationship, I think, with his players than Coach Garrido did.
Now, you were a top draft pick for the White Sox back in 1998. How was the transition for you from college ball to professional ball, and were there any challenges as you progressed through the minors?
I would say the biggest adjustment playing professional baseball, one, you don't call any of your coaches coach, and you can get fined for doing that. That took a little while to shake that habit. I'd say the biggest thing is when you get to minor league baseball as opposed to playing in the big leagues, everybody's goal is to try to become a better player and try to make it to the big leagues. And in that sense, it becomes a little bit more an individual game. And there's more individuals instead of that team concept that you have in college. And that took a long time for me to get used to. Then you make it to the big leagues and it's all about the team concept again. But playing college ball, everybody talks about rah-rah this and rah-rah that you get in college that you don't see in pro ball. But all that was part of the game. That was the feeling of unity as a team. Going to college teaches you to not play for yourself, but play for your teammates and do what it takes to win baseball games, not what it takes for you to try to hit home runs or worry about RBIs or whatever. It's about winning games and playing as a team.
Is playing in the big leagues everything you thought it would be?
And more so. Everybody can tell you their first day in the big leagues and where they were, their first at bat, their first hit. These cathedrals that we get to play baseball in front of thousands of fans. I walked out. I was in St. Louis when I got called up, met the team in St. Louis, and walked out and sat in the dugout for an hour by myself. Got to the field early, just in awe of actually being where you've dreamt your entire life of getting to.
Now, you were one of 8 Titan players. I don't know if you know this or not. You were one of 8 Titans from 96 to 98 to reach the big leagues, but none of you guys reached the College World Series. Is that something that you regret not having been able to do?
Absolutely. Won league championships in high school, won the Big West on the team that you were on there with me. Won 2 World Series in the big leagues. And, not even having won a ring in the College World Series, but not having the chance to go and experience Omaha, because that's what we were all working towards. That has always haunted me a little bit. I watch the College World Series every year and, still wonder what it would have been like to play there. And, especially the way we lost a couple of the years, especially my junior year when we lost in LSU, to LSU in a comeback victory that we ended up losing on a double down the line. I'll never forget the feeling of knowing that I wasn't ever going to be able to go.
So I'm guessing you haven't been back since? You haven't gone through Omaha, or?
I've never actually been to the stadium. I didn't play in the PCL when I was coming up. I played in the International League, so don't exactly roam through Omaha. You know what I mean?
Right. So who was your favorite player growing up?
My favorite player growing up was probably Mark McGuire. He went to Damien High School, which was in the same league I went to high school in Glendora. Southern California guy. I wasn't an A's fan by any means. I was an Angels fan. But I always enjoyed watching him, just the raw power, and watching him hit the ball the way he could. And my first day in the big leagues was in St. Louis, and I got to watch him take batting practice. And I remember thinking to myself, watching him hit the ball, going, if this is how far big league guys hit the ball, I'm not going to be here very long. Luckily, he was the only one. So.
Well, you got to cross paths with Mark McGuire, but have you ever crossed paths with any other idols or been starstruck by anyone in your time here in professional baseball?
Absolutely. In fact, 2 minutes before I came out here, I just was. I've been playing, 11 years now, and never had the chance to actually meet Vin Scully. And he just came down to the clubhouse to see how I was doing and how Mark was doing after after coming out of the game last night. And for him to come down and say hello, I was in shock. I was in awe of him because I grew up listening to him. I think everybody, not only in Los Angeles, but around the country, knows Vin Scully and knows that voice. And to be face to face with him was pretty neat.
What's your favorite city to visit and why?
Well, if I had to pick one, I would say Chicago. One, obviously, because I played there for 5 years and have a lot of great memories and special memories there. But just the city itself in the summertime, the restaurants, the people, the downtown, the figures. Everything about it. I don't know, not to mention I'm a huge Bears fan, so I always love going back and seeing the people that I know and just being there. It's a little chilly in the wintertime though.
So if I asked you what had the best food, would Chicago be up there?
Chicago, hands down.
Who's the best college player you ever played with or against?
Mark Otze. Watching him do what he did there, played with him for 1 year. He was amazing, Him and another one that stands out is J.D. Drew. So.
Same question on the professional level. Who's the best player you played with or against?
That's a good question. Have to be Barry Bonds. Never played with him, but playing against him in interleague and then playing against him, the 01, 02, 03, those years that he was hitting all the home runs, that I think really the ultimate compliment you can give a hitter is when you see a guy foul a pitch off that was a strike, and you're actually surprised that he didn't square it up, I think that's probably the best compliment you could give a hitter.
And then the last question for you, who's the toughest pitcher you've ever faced?
Oof. That's another good one. There's a lot. Pedro Martinez, Randy Johnson. For me, personally, Jason Grimsley, believe it or not, 96 with sink. Wasn't conducive for a right-handed hitter to try to get a lot of hits.
All right. Well, Rock, thanks for joining us. The Titan family wishes you well, and good luck the rest of the way. Thanks for talking with us.
No problem. Thanks.